on day 5. I cannot believe it. Time has really flown by, and I'm actually currently reading my 7th book. So when I'm done with that, I'll be done with all the challenges. I cannot believe it. I'm really happy, and I hope that your reading is going just as well or even better. Today's challenge was presented by Marissa. It was so innovative and I really like it, and you should check out her video. I'll link it down below. It was to make a reading list for a class that you want to teach or have, and you had to add a book from your TBR. I've completed my TBR, so I looked at the books that I read and I noticed a thing that I wasn't conscious of, but 3 out of the 7 books that I've read, they feature rape. And that's not very strange actually, because 1 out of 6 humans will be raped. It doesn't matter if you identify as male or female in this particular stance. However, every 3rd woman will be sexually assaulted. So this strategy that our society is trying or attempting or has attempted these past decades of keeping our mouth shut and not addressing the problem, it's not working. We have to speak about this if we want to change the rape culture, if we want to change the society that constantly blames the victims even if they have done absolutely nothing wrong and the victims are already dealing with so much shit. And I'm really frustrated and mad and sad about that. The class is about learning how our society looks so that we can change it, and so that we can get some empathy and just human decency. I'm wearing a lot of makeup, I'm wearing revealing clothes, I'm wearing a choker, and I'm not asking for it. Nobody is asking for rape, and rape happens a lot. Sexual assault happens a lot, and there's so many experiences and there's so much that we are not taught, especially not in school. Therefore, I have my reading list and it includes the 3 books that I read this week too. So let's get into it. Just a little pre-note, I will say the trigger warnings for the books, but there's probably a lot of more trigger warnings, and I will try to find some resources that I'll put down below, because this is a topic that's sensitive, and this is a topic that involves a lot of things like sexual abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, and a lot of the characters use different ways to deal, and a lot of those coping mechanisms aren't healthy. So just beware, and if you want to read any of these books, please make sure that you're in a stable mindset and that you're actually able to read the books without putting yourself in danger. So first I have An Untamed State by Roxane Gay. I just finished this yesterday. It's about a woman that gets kidnapped in Haiti. The trigger warnings for this one is quite extensive, but it's physical abuse, sexual abuse, mental abuse, eating disorders, PSD. But this book is really important because a lot of people do not know anything about the kidnappings that happen. The abuse in this book is very graphic, but it's very real, it's very raw, and I really appreciated this book because we get to follow what happens and then her recovery and how the main character deals with everything or not deals with it, because she develops PTSD, she develops an eating disorder, and we often do not get to see that in books, and we often do not get to see characters that are a bit older. This main character, she has a son, she has a loving husband. It's not the narrative that we usually see when we talk about or hear or see rape. That's why I think it's really an important book. And the main character, she comes from Haiti, so we get some diversity within that too. It's really important that we recognize that all experiences are different and there's not one typical case or one typical scenario when it comes to this. Next up I have Girl Detached by Manuela Salvi. This book is about girls that basically sell themselves, but they are tricked into selling themselves and becoming raped by men. The main characters, she's in love with this man that exploits her and other girls, and a lot of people do not recognize or want to speak or even acknowledge that sex is a business and there's a lot of rape and people that are being exploited, and it's not okay and we have to speak about that. It's just a very important read, and it gives another whole thing to this culture. The trigger warnings for this one is obviously rape and sexual assault, but the Goodreads, check people's reviews and please take care of yourself. After that, I'm showing you the back of the book because the book's cover feature self-harm. So this book is trigger warning self-harm. It's also trigger warning for suicide or suicide ideation, alcoholism, homophobia, sexual assault, and rape. The book is Scars by Cheryl Rainfield. It's about a main character, and she's starting to remember the sexual abuse that happened when she was younger. And she's in art therapy, she's in therapy, and she meets a girl, and yeah, it's about her remembering who this person is and dealing with that, and she's trying to cope with art, but sadly also she self-harms. A lot of people aren't aware that young people that have been sexually assaulted as children often repress these memories, and then later on when they become adolescents, the memories start to resurface. It happens to a lot of people, and it's important that we speak about this and that people are aware of this and that people know, because a lot of people say, how can you not remember? It's not that they don't remember, it's that their minds have protected them in order to survive. They have repressed these memories because that's what you do. Your body, your mind, it works to help you survive. A lot of people do not believe people when they say things like these, and I just want to add a statistics that 98% of the people that allege have been raped, they have been raped. People do not say they have been raped and haven't been raped. It was a really good book. Fourth book I have Asking for It. It's by Louise O'Neill. It's more about how society acts, because this is about a girl, and I want to put trigger warning on suicide and rape. She's at a party and she gets raped, but first, before getting raped, she has consensual sex. She's consented to have sex with one boy, and then she passes out and people rape her, and then they put it online. I think that this book focuses on the online part, and it focuses a lot on what happens with court and when you accuse somebody of rape, and it's really important that we have books like this, and the narrative is really raw. It brings up a lot of things, but please be aware of the suicide ideation. It's very graphic, and it just shows how awful a society can be and how awful people can be, especially online. And it brings up consent, which is a really important thing, because if you're passed out, that's not consent. If you consent to have sex with one person, that's not consent to other persons. If you consent and then 2 seconds later you say no, then that's a no. And no matter what you're wearing or not wearing, or how much you've been drinking, or whatever, if you've been taking pills or not, you're not asking for it. Please be aware of that, no matter how they look. Lastly, this is a biography, and it's by Dana Fowley, and it's How Could She? This is a true story, and she has been, throughout her childhood, molested and raped by her mother, stepfather, and their friends. A lot of people aren't aware that in most cases it's somebody that the person knows that rapes them, and it's really important to know that. And I just think that all the things that I spoke about earlier, they're fiction, and I think it's important to have something that's real and like true, and you can't say, oh, it's only fiction, because even if the previous works are fiction, that's still somebody's reality. This is Dana's reality. She's lived through this, and we have to acknowledge this. We have to read about it, we have to talk about it, and we cannot stay quiet about this anymore. But yeah, big trigger warnings for sexual assault and rape and physical and mental abuse on this one. That got deep. I still hope you enjoyed this video. I would love to take a class like this, because really we have to speak about it. We have to read about it. It's not fun, and these books, they are emotional. You get wrecked reading these books. You do not feel good reading these books, but that's not the point. The point is that we understand and that we start acting like decent humans, so that hopefully the future generations do not have to deal with what we're dealing with right now. Obviously, the silent approach isn't working and I'm just so fucking done with it, okay? I'm sorry. I'll probably make a longer video about this maybe another time with a bit more research and a bit more statistics. I'm sorry that this got like serious, but this is a real issue and I'm mad and I'll probably go read now. I hope that you're having a lovely day. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.